If you've ever taken a wrong turn in the middle of the desert at night, you know the kind of fear I felt. But what I didn't know was that losing my way that night would change my life forever. I was driving alone through Arizona, somewhere between Flagstaff and Phoenix. The sky was dark, except for the endless spread of stars. My old Chevy made that familiar humming sound, and the GPS had just given up on me, no signal. I had promised myself I'd never take a road trip without downloading the offline maps. But hey, I thought, what could possibly go wrong? The desert had this strange silence. Even with the windows rolled up, I could feel the emptiness pressing in. Then my headlights caught a figure standing by the road. A woman, maybe in her 20s, waving her hands. For a split second, I thought I was hallucinating. Who the hell hitchhikes in the middle of nowhere? Past midnight. I slowed down. My heart was racing. When she got closer, I saw her face. Pale in the headlights, with a mix of fear and relief. "Please," she said, leaning into the passenger window. "My car broke down. Can you help?" Something in her voice hit me. I couldn't just drive past. So, against every horror movie instinct, I unlocked the door. "Hop in," I said. "But if you're a serial killer, at least let me finish my playlist before you murder me." She laughed, but there was this sadness in her eyes. That was the first time I saw Emily. Emily smelled faintly of gasoline and lavender perfume, like someone who'd been fighting with a broken car, but still cared about appearances. We started talking small things at first. She was from New Mexico, traveling to Phoenix for a photography project. She told me she loved capturing abandoned places, old motels, broken-down diners. "What about you?" she asked. I hesitated. My life wasn't exactly exciting. I worked in IT back in Denver. Recently single, recently bored, recently questioning why I even existed in a cubicle. "Honestly," I said, "I think I'm running from my own life." She turned and looked at me in a way no stranger ever had, like she understood. As the miles passed, I realized we had that instant connection. Like when you meet someone and conversation flows so easily, you forget time. She told me about her father who used to take her on road trips, about the Polaroid camera she carried everywhere. I found myself telling her things I hadn't told my closest friends. But then, something strange happened. The GPS suddenly came back on, but the route it suggested looked wrong. Instead of leading us to Phoenix, it guided us deeper into the desert, toward an old state road. "Trust me," Emily said. "I know this shortcut." I followed. After an hour, headlights hit a faded sign, "Desert Star Motel vacancy." It looked abandoned. Neon lights flickered like ghosts. But Emily insisted, "Let's rest here. Driving tired is dangerous." Inside, the lobby smelled of dust and cigarettes. An old man sat behind the counter, staring at us like he hadn't seen customers in weeks. He handed us a single brass key. Room 7. The room was straight out of a 70s horror flick. Faded wallpaper, creaking bed, a broken TV. But we laughed it off. That night, we sat outside on the motel's rusty chairs, watching the stars. She pulled out her Polaroid and snapped a picture of me. "For memory," she said. "Memory of what?" I asked. "Of the night you didn't drive past me." Something about her words gave me chills. But later that night, I woke up to a sound. Footsteps outside the room. Slow, dragging. I peeked through the curtain. No one. Except, on the windshield of my Chevy, there was a Polaroid photo. Picture of Emily. Smiling. But I hadn't seen her take it. The next morning, Emily was already awake, sipping coffee from a paper cup. I almost convinced myself the Polaroid thing was a dream. We checked out, but as we drove, I noticed something odd. Emily didn't give me directions anymore. She just said, "Keep going." "Emily, do you actually know where we're going?" She smiled. "You'll see." Finally, we reached an abandoned diner in the middle of nowhere. Rusted signs, shattered windows. She insisted we stop. "This is the place," she whispered, almost to herself. She walked inside, camera in hand, like she'd been here before. I followed. The air was thick, heavy, as if time had stopped. On the counter, Covered in dust lay a faded photograph. A family, a man, a woman, and a little girl. Emily froze. "That's me," she whispered. I stared at her. The little girl in the photo had her same eyes. She told me then her family used to own this diner. Her parents died in a car accident nearby when she was 8. She'd been chasing memories ever since, trying to photograph places tied to them. And now, she brought me here. That night, back on the road, we argued. "Why didn't you tell me?" I shouted. "Because you'd think I was crazy," she yelled back. "Do you know what it's like to grow up chasing ghosts? To drive past places everyone forgot, just to feel alive again?" Silence filled the car. Then she said quietly, "You were supposed to find me." "What do you mean?" She turned, tears in her eyes. "I wasn't out there by accident." My stomach dropped. Before I could ask more, headlights appeared behind us. A black pickup truck, too close, tailgating us. I pressed the gas. The truck followed. For miles, it wouldn't let go. Finally, I swerved onto a dirt road. Dust flew everywhere. When I looked back, the truck was gone. I stopped, heart pounding. Emily held my hand. "You're safe now." But something in her touch felt different. That night, when I woke up in the car, Emily was gone. Only the Polaroid camera lay on the passenger seat. Inside it, one last photo, me asleep. I never saw Emily again. The motel, the diner. When I tried to return weeks later, locals swore they'd been abandoned for decades. No one had seen a girl like her. Sometimes I wonder if Emily was real. Maybe she was just a girl chasing her past. Maybe she was part of the desert itself. But I keep the Polaroid. Her handwriting on the back. "Don't drive past the people who need you." And that's the moral I want you to hear. Sometimes the strangers we let into our lives, even for a night, change us forever. It's been 5 years since that night. 5 years since Emily. I moved back to Denver, tried to rebuild my life, got a decent job, even dated someone for a while. But nothing stuck. Because every time I drove at night, every time I saw an empty road, I thought of her. People say you get over things. I didn't. One day, I found the Polaroid again in a box of old stuff. Her handwriting stared back at me. "Don't drive past the people who need you." And something snapped. I booked a week off work, packed a bag, and drove back to Arizona. Same Chevy, older now, louder engine. I told myself this time I'd find answers. The desert hadn't changed. Same endless sky. Same feeling of silence pressing down. Only I had changed. When I reached Flagstaff, I started asking questions. Locals shrugged. Motel? They said the Desert Star had been shut since the 90s. Diner? Torn down years ago. But then an old woman at a gas station leaned closer. "You say you met a girl there?" I nodded. She whispered, "Some folks say the desert holds onto people who ain't ready to leave." I drove until night fell, guided only by memory. And then, I saw it. The flickering neon sign. Desert Star Motel. Just like before. My hands shook as I pulled in. The parking lot was empty. The lobby door creaked open. And there he was, the same old man at the counter. I froze. He hadn't aged a day. "You again," he rasped, as if expecting me. "Room 7. I wanted to ask 1,000 questions, but my throat was dry. He slid the brass key across the counter. The room was exactly the same. Wallpaper, bed, broken TV. Like no time had passed. I sat there waiting, hoping. Hours later, when the desert was silent, I heard it again. Those dragging footsteps outside. My chest tightened. I pulled back the curtain. And there she was, Emily, standing in the glow of the motel sign, smiling just like before. I rushed outside. "Emily!" But when I reached her, she was gone. Only the Polaroid camera lay on the chair. Inside it, a new photo. Me standing in the doorway. The next day, I drove into Phoenix, desperate to find some trace of her. I searched photography forums, art galleries, anywhere that might know her name. At a small gallery downtown, I saw it. A wall of Polaroids. Abandoned diners, empty highways, neon signs in the desert night. The plaque read, The works of Emily Carson. In memory, 1989 to 2007. My heart stopped. 2007. That was almost 15 years ago. She'd been dead before I even met her. I asked the gallery owner. She was a photographer, he said. Car accident near Flagstaff. Tragic. She loved capturing forgotten places. Her last project was called The Road Never Ends. I stood there, staring at her photos. One of them showed a Chevy, my Chevy, parked under the motel sign. I never posed for that shot. That night, I drove back one last time. I parked under the stars, sat on the hood, and waited. I didn't see her. Not this time. But I felt her, like the desert itself was breathing with me. I whispered, I get it now. You weren't lost. You were showing me how to be found. I pulled out the Polaroid she left me and placed it under a rock by the road, like an offering. And for the first time in years, I felt free. Driving back to Denver, I realized the truth. Emily wasn't there to haunt me. She was there to teach me, to remind me that sometimes the people we lose, or the strangers we meet for a single night, can shape our lives forever.